Hi stock investors, JJ here. Welcome back. Well, I'm going to react to the second Tesla video today. There's talk of Tesla, a lot of it after these deliveries were announced that came in just a bit ahead of estimates, but still down 5% for over the year on year. A lot of people are forgetting that because the expectations were fairly low and the earnings coming up in late July. So we'll have to see what happens here. But here we have Tesla deliveries are being overanalyzed by investors, says RBC Capital's Tom Narayan. Let's see what he's got to say about that.
7 is obviously below where we are right now, and you recently reduced your price target just a couple weeks back based on lowered robotaxi assumptions. How much of the 227 at this point is robotaxi? I guess you're not expecting much out of the 8.8 event.
But this is a lot higher than what the previous one said, that it was 120, the price target by the end of year 120.
Well, it's about 52% of my valuation is robotaxi. Dropped it from about 70%. I mean, look.
Wow, that's quite a lot considering that that's in the future. It hasn't happened yet. $0 coming from robotaxi right now. The announcement is coming up next month.
The stock has run up quite a bit past week or so. I mean, this tends to happen with this stock. I doubt a lot of the investors who are pushing the stock up are doing all the rigorous math that I've done. So maybe it's run a little much. I think that
rigorous math on stuff that doesn't exist yet. Yeah, that's an interesting one.
Delivery number is something that folks are maybe over analyzing. This is really an autonomy play. August 8th, I think it's important kind of from a conceptual point of view. You're going to get people like me write these long flowery reports, but you're not going to get meaningful financial contribution from a robotaxi for a long while. So yeah.
It's true. I mean, how long is it going to take to roll out? Even if it works, well, the regulatory environments, I mean, the regulatory environment, the permission to actually do these things, it's not like Uber where you could just, put the cars on the road and ask for forgiveness later. Don't ask for permission, ask for forgiveness. You can't really do that with this kind of thing. It's not possible. That's the traditional Silicon Valley way of going, but you can't do that with this.
Yeah, I think we're caught between these two waves of growth. Not sure how much near-term upside is there in the stock, but I do like it.
When you said
I like the stock. Sounds like Roaring Kitty.
That, others may not do the rigorous analysis. What are you basing this rigorous analysis on? I mean,
that's a good question.
A lot of other analysts who are pointedly bearish on the stock will say that we've gotten no details on what robotaxi will be or what it might mean for the company. So how do you then plug that into a model which is so fine that you can go from a $600 billion valuation plus to 400 something?
I think the way to approach this, one, do a top-down look, right? You say, do you believe in robotaxis? Yes. Okay. What is the market size for this? It is enormous. Okay. Then you try to be as conservative as possible. Say, what is the minimal amount of market share I think Tesla could get realistically?
So, by the way, this is not financial advice. Nothing on here is financial advice. You need to do your own work. It's just for general entertainment purposes, and I think it is entertaining, all this Tesla stuff, and general education. So I'm not making any recommendations on Tesla one way or the other.
Realistically, I give them 20% market share in the U.S.
Market share of what? What is the total addressable?
Of that total addressable market.
Which is everybody in the world who wants to ride a car?
No, it's a robotaxi market where I haircut and I do substitution of private car ownership, only people in cities, housing dynamic. There's a lot of work, yeah. And so...
a lot of work. When people go for a total addressable markets and use that in their analysis, I think it's really often a danger zone. And that's what happened in 2021 when we have these emerging tech stocks that went to the moon and then they came down 80 or 90%. You'll notice, and a lot of those SPACs that came out, it was about the total addressable market rather than what Peter Thiel says is dominate a small market and then go out in concentric circles, which is what, companies like Facebook did. So Tesla, could say that they've done that to a certain extent, but when they're talking about a whole new market, a whole new sector, that's total addressable market. I mean, there's so much water under the bridge to come forward to talk about that.
So you do that math and you come out to a pretty conservative. Actually, the reason why it cut from 600 to 400 billion is because I lowered my pricing assumption with the help of our internet analyst, and I raised the amount that companies like Uber and Lyft are going to get from that relationship. because I was underestimating the value from those app providers.
I'm interested in your take on how far ahead of the curve they are on robotaxis in terms of innovation, because clearly they were ahead of the curve on EVs, but pretty much everyone's caught up with them now, and some Chinese players like BYD can deliver EVs at a much lower cost. So could the same thing apply on robotaxis, at least this time, even before it's become widespread and adopted?
Yeah, that's why I did this approach where I looked at the entire ecosystem. There's a lot of players that are going to play in this, right? It's like really three parts. It's the car, it's the software, it's the app. There are going to be a lot of OEMs that are going to make the car. There are going to be a lot of companies that will do the software. In terms of them specifically, I do think FSD version 12 was a breakthrough event. I mean, Elon's completely pivoted the company from not only from a headcount perspective, but in terms of pushing out the next-gen facility, now unveiling the robotaxi on August 8th. It is a game changer, and they do have the most miles on the road thanks to auto.
We don't have any details about what's going to happen on 8th of the 8th. The taxi reveal, ARK's put this huge, massive price target on Tesla, and not just that, revenue. They have said that it's 63% of a $1.2 trillion market. This just in total market is what they've said for 2030. I mean, this is such a massive call, such a massive projection on something that has $0 yet. I mean, there's so much water to go under the bridge. And you look at Waymo, how the problems that they've had, and Tesla's going a different way with the cameras. But is this really, as an analyst, is this really what someone should do? Put these projections like this out there.
Autopilot, the biggest fleet of cars on the road. There are a couple other companies, obviously. Mobileye is a good notable one. Obviously, GM and Waymo are. So there are going to be a lot of players in the ecosystem. All I'm saying is they will have a big seat at the table. And like I said, 20% market share for their walled garden. I don't think that's unreasonable. And only 7 to 8% in Europe and China. It's because the overall TAM is so big. It's in the trillions of dollars. I'm only saying they're going to get 400 billion of this enormous game-changing market.
You say, I mean, the stock has almost erased all of its losses for the year. You said earlier those who are sending it up perhaps now are not doing the rigorous math you do. But has that ever been the case that they do the rigorous math? And when, if any, does it actually matter?
It doesn't. You're absolutely right. You have to do this like second derivative thinking with the stock, right? I think what's important to take away from yesterday is not necessarily the stock price, but it's the fact that people are capitulating on giving up on it, right? People want to be constructive on it. That's a signal to me that people are coming around to the robotaxi argument. I've been coming on CNBC for over a year talking about robotaxis. If you look at the YouTube clips and the comments, it's been this guy's crazy, his shirt is ugly, like 6 months ago. Look at my recent commentary on YouTube. My mom loves it. It's more positive. So I think there is a sentiment shift. Sentiment shift.
That's about a sentiment shift. Yes, as you're looking at these YouTube clips, hi there if you're seeing this one. And I don't know. I mean, he talks about rigorous maths, but is it really, on something that doesn't exist yet? It's really future projections on an addressable market, and that is often in the past. If history's any guide, into danger zone territory, when something doesn't actually, there's no numbers actually, there's no business there yet.
Getting more constructive on this as a reality, not just me with my tinfoil hat on talking about science fiction. So I think people are getting more realistic. I see that as a translation of the stock move, not really that deliveries mean something significant. Cars is only less than 10% of the value of my price target.
What about robots?
I don't value that. It could be something, but I'm looking only at the businesses that they're actually going to do something with, that I believe they can. And there's something we didn't even talk about, megapacks, energy storage.
Right.
There's something that came out yesterday.
Yes.
Now that is a real business that's actually working and growing. That is the most exciting business that Tesla has right now, I think. Real business.
Record deployment.
I mean, gigawatt hours.
Yeah.
Last year, the entire globe, 100. They did that 9 in 1 quarter. They were 15% of the market last year. They're gaining market share. This thing is growing by like 80% this year. It's actually worth more than my car business as well. I don't think many people are talking about energy storage either.
No, they're not talking about it because it's not glamorous. It's not, it's not the story that people want to hear, but that is definitely a positive part of Tesla that I can see for sure. So what do you think? Let me know in the comments. This is just for entertainment, as I said, in general education, and Tesla, the whole story around it, the whole saga is entertaining. And if you want to see more, then do subscribe to this channel, because there'll be more of this. Also, I'm going to put a link on the screen to a video that YouTube thinks that you should watch next. So go and see that now if you want to. It might be mine. It might not be one of mine. So go and see that. And I'll put a subscribe link on the screen too. So go and see that. And I'll go and tap that if you want to see more. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.